I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, who's Mark Galvin. Mark is the president and founder of Epresence, which is a digital marketing agency that manages social media for companies, organizations, and individuals. He was a hospitality professional for 29 years, and he's used his hospitality expert to evolve into a personal social media expert there at Epresence. He's here today to answer all your questions about LinkedIn. I think it's particularly topical today, and I think you'll get a lot out of the session. But a short note before we start, make sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel afterwards. It's called How's Your Epresence? He has the live shows that he does, and the topic is the content, I should say, is very engaging. But you can also subscribe to him on podcasts as well. So with that said, please join me in welcoming Mark Galvin.
Carl, thank you so much. I appreciate that wonderful introduction. And so I'm a hotelier by trade, so I love to serve. And as a result, I always try to pack as much as I can into anytime I do a presentation. So I was looking at the number of slides I have, and I actually have 50 slides. There's no way I'll get through 50 slides in 20 minutes, but let's see what we can do. And the great thing is we'll be able to share a lot of great content with you. And my mission is to stop early enough for you guys to ask questions so we can really go ad hoc and attack anything that you want. So starting off, a little bit about Epresence. So I started Epresence because I wanted to help people with their personal social media. So I was originally exclusively focused on LinkedIn. So we'd help executives manage their social media from an individual perspective, if that's what somebody wanted. And then we evolved into a full service social media site. So what's interesting is that up here, you'll see my handles. And the handles are all standardized. And that's the first thing I want to share with all of you is that it would be great for you to standardize all of your handles. So it's easier for you to remember. It's easier for people to track you down by remembering your handle. And for me, the older I get, I just love the fact that I can remember my handle for all those websites. So Epresence MG, you can find me everywhere using those handles. And we did, it was nice for Carl to mention this. We do have a podcast. We are recording it live. We drop it on typically on a Thursday on Facebook and on YouTube. We're always sharing great content, which our mission is to help you guys out, have you guys figure out how to leverage your social media a little faster. We've already talked about this. We're gonna jump past this. All right, so we're gonna talk about trends in social media a little bit. Get into LinkedIn profile management, show you guys how you can post a little better. I have a feeling that a lot of what I'll do today may spur some questions. If you have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat box. If you don't want someone to know your question, that's fine. If you could, send it to Carl. Carl, if you see a question pop up, will you pop in and say, hey, Mark, I got a question. Just interrupt me. Will you mind?
Sure. Yeah, you bet.
Cool. So here's some important things to know. This is data that you probably are already aware of. But the first thing is Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp are larger than China and India. So they have a higher population than China and India. And then Instagram and Twitter are larger than the US. So why is all this important? It's because social media is where you influence people today. 93% of buying decisions are influenced by social media. And I want to focus on influence. That's what you should be doing on LinkedIn. Philosophically, how can you look at LinkedIn a little different today? And the way I want you to think of it is, don't think of it as it's a place where I put my resume. I want you to think of it as your personal website. And if it's your personal website, you're able to influence people to buy you if you leverage that. And if you're active and you're posting and you're sharing that you're a subject matter expert, it makes me want to buy from you. Because what's that old phrase? Nobody likes to be sold to, but everybody loves to buy. So if you're influencing your audience, they're going to want to buy from you when they're ready to buy. While we're on this, and this is just for 20 minutes, and so actually more than this will join, but 2 people are joining LinkedIn every second. There'll be 2,400 people on LinkedIn by the end of this call, new people on LinkedIn. Back in 2008, during our last economic crisis, there were 35 million people on LinkedIn. That sounds like a lot. Today, There's over 700 million. LinkedIn is your first impression today. It is where you have to make sure you are doing what you can to control that first impression. So what I'll do today is I'm going to share with you now some of the key ways that you can control that first impression, because it is so important. So the first thing, your profile picture is the most important part of your LinkedIn profile. 80% of the evaluation of your profile comes right from your profile picture. It's unbelievable. It's kind of scary, makes you a little uncomfortable. I apologize for that, but it's just simply true. So I'm going to show you a couple of LinkedIn profile pictures. This is what I do when I'm bored. I sit around on LinkedIn. I look for funny profile pictures. This is the best one because it breaks so many rules. These are really nice people, but they need a bit better profile picture. First things first, you want a profile picture of just you, not you and 100,000 of your very best friends. These days, cropping out your significant other from your profile picture doesn't work. It shows you're not really focused on LinkedIn. The other thing is, you don't want to see sunglasses on LinkedIn, because when I see somebody on their LinkedIn profile, I immediately look at their eyes, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So I need to see your eyes. The other thing, don't have school colors in your profile picture. So I'll guarantee you a Michigan grad will not want to do business with a Spartan, i.e. Michigan State grad. Why is this so important? It's because I don't make that decision. If I'm that Michigan person, I see this profile, and I think, I don't want to do business with them, and I move on. Don't run folks off. The other thing is on this picture, which is really interesting, is you don't know if it's hers or his, and I'm here to tell you it is his profile picture, not hers. A lot of confusion going on there. This picture is fantastic. Here's why. I can see her eyes really well. I can see her picture on my iPhone really well, because 80% of the folks, actually it's about 83.4 people are going to interact with your profile through LinkedIn on their phone or on their Android or iPhone. So imagine this really small. I can still see her eyes well. I'm shaking her hand when I meet her. I'm going to look her in the eye. So I need to see her eyes. Very good for that. Also, I like the interesting background. Hoteliers, all of you should have an interesting background, because here's what I would encourage you is have a hotel or something that's connected to your space. If you're if you're on the supplier side, have something in the background that makes it look interesting. I've encouraged hoteliers to get profile pictures sitting in a lobby with the background out of focus. It's a very interesting way to present your profiles, not like your typical headshot. So this site that we're on now, I'm waiting for my monitor to catch up. There we go. This screen shows this website called Photofeeler.com. Photofeeler.com is a free website, and what they do, it's a crowdsource site. So you go there, you drop in your picture, your profile picture, and random people are going to tell you what they think about your profile picture. Oh, is that good? I'm not so sure. It is good. Trust me. Here's why. You ask your friends about your profile picture, they're going to tell you, oh, it's great, because it's really bad, and they don't want to tell you because they don't want to hurt your feelings. I get that. A lot of people ask me, I'm like, I'm not going to tell you. Go to photofeeler.com. They'll tell you. This is a site where people land on your picture and they rate your picture. Now, you could pay a fee for $9. You can get 40 votes, like you see in this gentleman right here. He had 40 votes on his picture. Or you can vote on other people's pictures and get this for free. So here you can see we've got 3 pictures of the same gentleman. 1, 2, 3. We drop them into photofeeler.com, and here's his scores. And so he's rated on competence, likability, and influence. And you can look across and see the scores there. Here's what's fascinating about this. We find that jackets make a difference. You can see that first picture has a jacket. The other thing is if you need to make sure you see your eyes, and being friendly is good. Now, I know in Hawaii, you guys don't wear jackets. You wear aloha shirts. You're a lot more casual. So you should appear as you appear at work. It's totally fine and fitting, but you want to make sure your face is well lit, you're looking at the camera, and you're friendly, and it's clear. It needs to be very clear. For the ladies, the same items, the same things are true as well. Jackets do make a difference. Again, if it doesn't fit your industry because of where you are, because of Hawaii, then you don't need to do that. make sure we can see your face really well and your eyes. Have some great shots over here on the side, but here you can see my bullets that I've listed. No selfies or sunglasses. Want to see your eyes, just you. Make sure your background is interesting. Be friendly and natural. It fits our industry. All right. So what do we want to do next? We want to focus on the headline. The headline is at the top of your profile. It's the space that LinkedIn typically tells you that you need to list your title and your company. Well, I'm going to tell you what, that is a waste of space. And here's why. Whoops, go back. Here's why. You can see on this profile picture, this nice lady, Tammy Wheeler, has done that. She put her title and her company name. Well, her company name is going to appear over here on the right, so you don't need to waste the real estate for that. And her title may or may not help people find her. You want to make sure people can track you down. How do you do that? You do that with search engine optimization words. So I want you to think about this. What are the words that someone would use to search for Tammy Wheeler, the executive coach? It could be as consulting. It could be coaching. It could be a lot of other words besides executive coach, founder of PeopleSense, because people are probably not going to search for her if they don't know her yet through her company name. So what I would like for you to do is think about this. Look at these words we came up for her. So here she's executive coach, senior consultant. So there's that word consultant. These certifications are important. So we got those in there because it is possible that somebody may search for those. She's founder and president of this company. She still wanted that. There's the word coach and consulting. Consulting, because consultant is two different words could be used to search for that type. So that's how we came up with those words. What should you do? You should do the same thing, but I want you to forget about words like experienced and competent, knowledgeable. Nobody's going to search for you that way. If I were to look for a revenue manager, I need to think of all the ways somebody would search for a revenue manager. Now, I do want you to think about something else. This is important. If you're looking for a position, if you're in one of those unfortunate folks in the hospitality business that are looking for a role, you do need to have your title in the headline. And the reason is the headline is that wording is what a recruiter will use to search for you. So you've got to have your title the way a recruiter will search for you in your headline. The rest of it, you could list out your very best skills. So if you're a revenue manager and you have sales and marketing experience, then you probably want sales and marketing in your headline. Good. So headline's very important. Newsflash, no kidding, this happened today. They changed the line to 219 characters. As of yesterday, it was 120 characters. So this just happened, and I found out through one of my webinars just by happenstance. So you got 219 characters there. Use it as best as you can. All right, cool. The next one is the About screen. So the About section, you can see over here on mine, it's this tile that appears below the top of the screen, right? So there's the headline. There's my headline there, my name, where I am. And you can see there's the About section. I want you to focus on a couple of things. Number one, the About section has 1,985 characters. If you're not using it and this is your personal website, you're missing an opportunity because people look for About on websites. So you need to build this out. What about you? Here's what I want you to think about. Number one, I want you to share what you do and then share why you're passionate about it. So what do you do? I am a revenue manager at a hotel. And why are you passionate about it? I'm passionate about this because it helps my organization compete better. It helps my organization put more people to work, right? It helps you fill that out. Or what is it important to you? I can give you my example from the hospitality business when I was there. I liked working at the hotel business because everybody loved to serve, and working in a servant environment is a lot of fun. As an example, when you walk in the back halls of a hotel in your back of house, you pass somebody, everybody says hello. If you go to the local financial investment office where there's 20 or 30 financial advisors, they don't talk to each other. It's a whole different environment. I love that servant attitude that we have in the hospitality business. So I'd want to share that as why I'm passionate about being in the hospitality business. You should think about whether you should be in first person or third person. If you search, everybody says you got to be in first person. That's not necessarily true. If you're a hotel general manager, you better not be in first person because you look a little too self-consumed. But if you're coming out of college, you better be in first person, because if you're writing in third person, you look a little, again, consumed with yourself. Think about how your audience will best receive you and speak to them in that tone. First person or third person, best for your audience. If I'm in hotel sales, I need to be in first person because I'm going to deal directly with my audience. If I'm a revenue manager and my audience are the revenue managers or other hoteliers or potential buyers or property managers, I probably still need to be in first person. But do think about that. The about screen is extremely important from search, not because it's as important as the headline. Headline changes are picked up immediately. LinkedIn will scrape the about section in about 24 hours. And so using all those characters, using all the words that you found were important for your headline, I'd sprinkle them into your about screen. Here's why. If it's appearing twice on your profile, the algorithm sees it as twice as important. So all those words you should somehow build into your about screen. If you want to build in bullets, it's totally cool. In fact, if your audience are hotel GMs, as an example, a hotel GM is not going to want to read everything. Bullets at the bottom would be very good. Think about who your audience is and how they'll best receive your information. Cool. Any questions, Carl? Anybody out there with a question? This is a good spot to throw out questions for questions.
Yeah, there's no question in the posted in the chat yet, but yeah, let's throw it out there. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I see you put first and third. What happened to second? I see a lot of people in second.
Yeah, it all depends on what's important to your audience, right? So it doesn't that doesn't really matter. Can you give me an example of second person?
She's a director of sales and marketing at Trump, Waikiki.
Okay. I would stick to either.
Because I just learned I should be in first, being in sales.
Right. So it all depends on how the audience is going to receive you. So, and I loved it. I'm glad you asked this question because it's hard to put yourself in your audience's shoes, but I want you to do that. I want you to practice this. Sit at your desk as you're working on your LinkedIn profile and pretend I am my audience. How will I receive this information? And read it literally if you can put yourself in their shoes, Here's an example. If I'm a revenue manager and I'm applying for a job and my audience is a GM, I want to imagine, okay, how would my GM that I currently know receive my information, right? How will they best read that? It's so important you think of it that way because that's your audience. Good.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Mark, we have another question about cover photos. You talked about how important profile photos are. Do you have any more recommendations for cover photos?
So I'm assuming cover photos are banners at the large picture that shows behind your head. And yes, I think you need to have them. I mean, here's why. Number one, so there's two questions here. What should you have and should you? Mm-hmm. When you have that banner photo, it's like the difference between a motor lodge and a 5-star 5-diamond hotel. When you walk into a 5-star 5-diamond hotel, you don't think out loud, right? That, wow, there's the marble and look at the fixtures on the walls and look how the decor, the crown molding and blah, blah, blah. You don't think that, but you know you're in a really nice hotel. You want that same experience on your profile. So I would definitely add something to that space behind your picture. And again, that's called banner. And I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll bring up a screen and I'll show this to you guys. So some of you may not know what we're talking about. The other thing is what should you put back there? You need to put something that works for you, that can be descriptive of you. This is interesting. The banner at the top of my screen is black. Never seen that before. That's a brand new change. So here we go. So this is the banner behind my photo. So you can see this is the banner I'm talking about. So I use something that's branding for my organization. But here's another example of one that I've seen recently. And I really like this. So it's just simply an out of focus picture, but it also is very descriptive, and it finishes her profile well. So there are a lot of pictures out there you can grab. Just make sure it's a high quality image. So when you land on your profile and you go to change this, so look for this pencil here. So I'm over here on the right side. So you see this pencil on the right side of the photo of the, of the profile. If I click this, and then I'm going to move up to this pencil that's right up here. This will allow me, you can see there's the pixels of that picture, 1584 by 396. So make sure you have a high quality image up there. I like things like, I've seen somebody with the bindings of books, vertical pictures of just a bunch of books. That works. I've seen a picture of a woman standing on the top of a mountain. I've seen a picture of a man standing on top of a mountain. I've seen photographs of cityscapes. I've seen photographs of beaches. All of it's fine. Find something speaks to you, and put that on your profile. Good.
Great. We have another question.
Go for it.
It's about the About section. At the bottom of the About section, there's an area for specialties, like keywords. Should you use this for keywords, or should you use the space there for narrative?
So at the bottom of the About section, I think, let's see. So Dan, I see your question. Are you actually speaking about the skills section? Just give me a yes or no in there. Is this the section you're talking about?
Yeah, no, if you unfurl your About section, at the bottom of that, and I don't know if this is from an old iteration of LinkedIn, but you used to put all your specialties in, and it flows at the bottom of that. So if you see more in your About section, at the bottom there, you don't have them. But I have a whole list, and I think it's from an old iteration where you used to put in all of your key skill sets, and it would be there at the bottom. So now the way it looks now is it says specialties : and lists a whole bunch of keywords.
So that is now under the skills section. So skills you should build out. This used to be something I thought they were going to get rid of. All of these skills, you could add 50 here. You should add those. So that is where that migrated. There were also, some of you may remember this, if you look at my experience section, you see these tiles here. These used to appear also at the bottom of the About. Those are no longer there. They now appear in this featured section here, which is much more prominent. And you could add content there by pressing the little plus sign, and this will show you what you can add there. We don't have a ton of time. I can't go through all of those with you guys today, but that is a great way to add some of those skills, interviews, posts you like, special things that if you've won an award, you can put those in there. So that's that featured section. Good. I'm astounded that the top of my screen is black. I'm going to just tell you guys, the top of the screen was blue before we started today. Now it's black. Maybe they've done something unique. Who knows? Good. Any other questions? So I'm going to quickly go through posts. We have a few minutes for this and how you can post and what you should post. There's a lot of detail, a lot more texture I can get into on posts, but here's the one thing I want to show you. I want you guys to remember one of the best posts you can have is giving away a gift. I call it social media gifting. So if you know someone that won an award, like I know Ashley here, she won an award from Connect Corporate. She was recognized being as a 40 under 40. And so I went to the website, I grabbed the URL, and I made a post. So I call that social media gifting. The key pieces to this is that I tagged her company, I tagged the company that recognized her, and I used hashtags. All of those things will expand your audience. Good. So that's a very important part of your post. I would make sure you're also looking at sharing photographs, sharing video. The more you do, the better those posts will do. And here's some quick do's and don'ts. Do comment on posts so if somebody else has a post, but don't share or reply to a comment. So don't share posts because that breaks the post apart. It's better for you to go to a post and comment on it than sharing it to your feed. It helps that post do better for both you and them. And if somebody comments on your post, don't reply to their post. I want you to go in and put another comment and tag them in the comment. It really is a way to tickle the algorithm so that you reach more people. Do tag people in your posts. It's a great way to reach more people. Find 4 or 5 people that you know will always share or comment on your post and tag people in the post in your post. Finally, use hashtags. Don't forget to use hashtags. You always reach larger audiences because people are following hashtags based on their own interests. We've already started some questions, but I want to share this with you guys. While you're here, if you would text the word Hawaii to this phone number. So text Hawaii. So type in 404-795-4310 and text the word Hawaii that. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, plus I'm going to give you a URL to an opportunity to join me. If you'd like to have a one-on-one, we're doing small groups of 10 people to help people in the hospitality business. I'll give you a URL at the end of that text where you can join us for 1-hour small group sessions where we have no more than 10 people in. And I do a lot more deep dive. And people ask me a lot of questions there about how their how can we rewrite their about screen and such. So please send a text message there and I'll ask you some questions. All right. And by the way, make sure you spell the Hawaii the way I spell it, because I'm evidently spelling it wrong. Somebody's already sent me a text message with the apostrophe at the back. I'm so sorry. I'm a mainlander. I don't know how to spell Hawaii. It's H-A-W. Just spell it the way I have on the screen. I'm so sorry. I should have looked that up. Good. Any other questions about anything at all? All right. I got one. Carl, is anybody typing anything? I'm going to wait for you to tell.
No. Go ahead.
So one of the questions that I often get is, should I accept connection requests from people I don't know? Number one, I would love all of you guys to send me a connection request. I'd accept all of them. I love growing my network, especially with people that have joined me in my sessions, number one, and you'll be able to see the content that I share. Number two, if someone sends me a connection request, I look at them as whether they are somebody that can help me with my mission either today, in 5 years, or in 10 years. So think about this now. You may have had somebody sent you a connection request 5 years ago. Could they have helped you today with where you are today? So I recommend that you think about all of those people that you're getting connection requests from. Can they help you? And if they can, great, accept that connection request. I also recommend that you don't ignore them. So I've got all these invitations that I get, and I don't ignore them. I let them sit there. And here's why. I may change my mind, and I may want to go back and connect with them later. So I do recommend that you look at people, look at those connection requests that way. And I'm going to apologize. A few of you are sending me text messages to that number with the apostrophe I, and I apologize. I spelled that the wrong way. So make sure your spell check isn't adding that extra apostrophe at the end, since I spelled it wrong. Any other questions?
I don't think so. Dan had a comment there. Somebody once told him to accept all requests because it amplifies who sees posts.
So, Dan, I think that's smart. Yes, that's very true. I will give you an example of someone not to accept. So this person here, Edward Lee, has a photograph and they look like there's a cat, and I don't connect to cats. So what I encourage you to do is look at a profile, look at somebody who's sending you a connection request, and if you can determine whether they are, whether they're legitimate. Number one, I always do that. Here's an example. I always accept connection requests from certified financial planners because they're targeting wealthy individuals, and I want wealthy individuals to hire me to manage their social media for them. So I connect to everybody, all certified financial planners. But if I think they're overtly going to sell to me, I may pause, because I'm getting a lot of that, Dan. I could connect with them and grow my audience, but they're just beating me up. Also, the other thing to think about is if someone is not a real person, like I know for a fact this Norma Gardner is not real because of interactions that I had with this person. This person is, I don't know who they are, but this is not her. And so that's also something else, is you can ask questions, kind of tease out whether somebody's real if they come across to you in a way that you think is that is, you suspect they may not be real. But yes, if they're a real person and they can help you, Dan, I do accept. I think that it's good to connect to people. Anything else, Carl?
No, I think that's, I don't see any other questions. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks for that, Mark.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate the time being able to spend with you guys today. And it's dinner time in Atlanta. So I'm going to go have dinner now.
Right.
Mahalo, Mark.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. And thanks everybody for joining us. Just a quick reminder, you can subscribe to Mark's YouTube channel, How's Your ePresence, or on his podcast of the same name. And also another reminder that we have another event on July 15th with Holly Zoba talking about social media marketing, and we'll have an invite out for that shortly. And a recording of today's presentation will be sent out to all the registered attendees shortly. Mahalo. Thanks everybody for joining.
Bye, everyone.
Aloha.